Alright everybody, what's up? This is Unilateral Everything, episode 13. I'm actually kind of surprised I've made it 13 weeks of doing a video every week. Looking absolutely ridiculous in my car, but that's whatever. Finishing up a deload week this week. Just got that session done, so feeling pretty good. Recovering, things like that. That's something new that, well, I guess recovering is not new, but just really trying to emphasize the recovery and getting ready to do the retest week next week. Gonna be testing a slew of things. Did the original testing on shoulder press, front squat, clean deadlift, back squat, and technically snatch and clean and jerks. I didn't meet the week before, so gonna be testing all of those things. Something I noticed on Tuesday, or maybe it was Wednesday, I was toying around with a force plate that we have at the facility in the training room, and I set a jump mat on top of it because I was trying to figure out what the correlations may be, and just because we do dumb stuff like that sometimes as coaches. So was toying around with the jump mat, and it'll give you a height on a vertical if you jump and land in the mat, and it gave me a number that was about 2 inches higher than any vertical I'd ever done. So I'm going to try to do maxes next week, or I guess retest some speed and agility stuff just to see if that's gone up. I haven't really been working on that, but just to see as like a side effect if my speed numbers, my jumping numbers have gone up as part of the process of doing unilateral work. So that'll be pretty interesting. So that's kind of where we're at. Want to see all those things. Interesting kind of topic to talk about this week. I've been really obsessed with breath work in the past, I guess, 2 weeks, and really optimizing how people breathe. I've been doing it with basically all of my athletes. Breathing is something you can do to help brace for a lift. It's something you can do for a recovery benefit, for mental focus. I mean, everybody knows meditation stuff is incorporates a lot of breathing. I'm trying to find the right words there to say. So I've been doing that a lot with athletes, trying to get them to kind of reset the nervous system and kind of explain to them and educate them on the fact that a lot of things we do is neural, whether it's mobility, whether it's focus, whether it's power outputs. All of them require a neural component. If I shake my hand right here and I'm moving my hand around, that's a signal from my brain to my hand, and that requires some kind of stimulus from the brain to the musculature in the hand. And so trying to explain to them, okay, if we're too far in either a parasympathetic state or a sympathetic state, how that's going to affect their performance, and how that's going to affect stress levels, how it's going to affect recovery. I had the opportunity to talk to a younger athlete today. He's 14, football player, and he asked me, and I was talking to him and his dad, and they had asked me about, okay, well, 2 weeks ago in a game, we were like, the kid was just on fire. He had like 16 tackles. Now, this is middle school football, so you can have those really high numbers. Like 16 or 17 tackles. This past week, though, he was just in the tank. He looked slow and sloppy. And I kind of noticed some stuff when the kid walked in the facility, so I asked him, I said, okay, how many tests have you had this week? And he said, I had 2 tests this week. And I said, when were they? Well, yesterday. Okay, when did you play? 2 days ago. So that has an effect. All right, so all right, now how many tests did you have the week beforehand? None. Okay. So you got to remember that stress comes from all different sorts of varieties. They come in all varieties, comes from different stimuluses. The body just recognizes stress. I mean, you can apply stress via mental and social situations, via testing, new social interactions, stressful social interactions, you know, argument with your parents, argument with a significant other, things like that. Those all have an effect on the body. So does, you know, the physical things we do. So managing all of those resources. Cal Dietz does a lot of talking about that. If you listen to any podcasts with Cal Dietz, the guy that came up with triphasic training, he talks a lot about that. It's the same kind of concept behind heart rate variability. If you follow me on Instagram, I've talked about that before. Managing stress and the responses your body has to that. And so breath work is something that you can do to kind of get that nervous system back, because the diaphragm and diaphragmatic breathing kind of ties into how those sympathetic and parasympathetic states interact with each other. And so you can kind of see people, if they're breathing a lot through their shoulders, and you'll even see this, I was kind of told this in a lecture and kind of just watched it over the past year or so, you know, that if somebody's really stressed out, you can kind of see, because a lot of times their left shoulder will rise a little bit, because the left side of the rib cage, with the heart kind of sitting more to the left side, the left shoulder will raise a little bit. If somebody's going through this really stressful breathing and breathing through their shoulders, you'll see the left shoulder kind of almost peak up just a little bit compared to the right, versus diaphragmatic breathing, which is kind of getting you into that sympathetic state, rest and digest, and being able to just kind of calm down those nerves, be able to focus a little bit more and things like that. So I've been doing a lot of breath work to try to educate the kids I work with, and even the older athletes, like my pickleball players, been working with them on that, and how that really plays a role into performance, and how it plays a role into just life in general. So I guess that's kind of what this week's talking about, especially with you know, doing a deload week. Recovery is really important, so not only talking about breath work, but also managing and educating kids on that. So we'll be talking a little bit more at the end of next week, after doing maxes, what the overall overview of the whole program is, and how I think I may be applying unilateral work to weightlifting training, and also just training for athletes based on needs. So thanks for tuning in. If you've watched all of these videos, I'm really impressed, because I'd get really annoyed of myself talking. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week, and until then, have a fantastic week.